Welcome to Beading with Machi Wapakwinyum. I'm your host, Lydia Sturby. So today we're going to be working on this red dress fringe earring. So in your kit you would have received a wax beaded heart, and that's in case your thread starts to fray. And this is your thread bobbin. We had a baggie of red beads for the main part of the dress, and then the colored beads for inside and the detailing. You would have had 2 hooks with the stoppers on them and 2 of the wire guards, a needle on a piece of felt, and that is it. And so we're going to get started now by taking a arm's length. So I usually take from pinch between my finger and my thumb and go to the opposite shoulder, and we're going to thread that into our needle. And from there, what we're going to do is we're actually going to start with this 2 strips of red right across here with our ladder stitch. And so what that means is you're actually going to pick up the first 4 red beads and slide them about an inch or so away from the bottom. So I'm going to hold them here just over an inch, maybe almost 2 inches away. And the reason being we don't knot it is because then it gets too hard to actually get rid of the knot and hide a knot. Once you have your 4, you're going to go back through the same way you went. So essentially it's making this loop, and they're going to want to stand straight up, but if you fold them over just like this and pull these 2 ends tight, they should sit 2 and 2, and that is your first piece of the ladder there. Okay, now if I add 2 more red beads, and if I'm coming out the bottom, which I should be, then I'm going to go from top to bottom. So I'm always chasing my tail and making this loop. This is my 3rd set. And then go back up those 2 beads. And now my beginner is out the bottom and I'm coming out the top. And we're going to just do that until we have 9 sets, and they're all red because we want 9 fringes on our dress. Okay, now if done correctly, that's my 9 across. My original tail should be coming out the bottom, and my working string is coming out the top. So that is it for our ladder stitch. The next part is called a brick stitch, and that is because we are going to start layering them off center of each other, kind of like a brick wall. So what you're going to do is you're going to put your needle underneath the string that is holding those 2 beads together. Okay, and as you kind of pull that, you'll see which way your bead is trying to sit. And you want to go through the bottom or the right, I guess it would be the left technically, side of the bead, so that when it's flipped the correct way and you come back through it, it's now going to sit flat like a donut kind of in between those 2. So that's how we do a row where there's 1 less there. Okay, and you're going to do that all the way across in red. So this row should only have 8 beads on it. Okay, so I did all the way back, and that's my 8 beads. And now we're going to come back the opposite way. And so one less, so we should have 7 beads going back. Okay, we're going to make our way back with 6 beads this time. Okay, so that is kind of her hips at this point, and we're going to give her this metallic belt. So the 5 coming back are going to be done in this metallic-y color. Okay, now we need to start doing our increase brick stitch. So what that means is before we work our way back, this time you're going to put on 2 beads, and you're still going to go under that first string, but only go up the second bead. And so what that does is it forces the second bead to be the one that's our brick and the other one to poke out. Okay, so continue that. So funny bead. Okay, so now on the other end, you're going to pick up a bead. So you can see I've reached kind of my end like I normally do, but you're going to go back under that bead again, the last spot that you went under. Go through it again with another bead and come back up. And what that's going to do is it's going to add one to the far side now. Okay, we're going to do another add, so or increase, so that's 2 on this side, go under that bead and come up the second one. And go back to doing singles. Okay, and I'm doing the extra bead on the outside to add and come up. Okay, I got to do it one more time with just red beads. So 1, 2 reds, poke under, come out. And then single reds across. Okay, so there's her, I guess her breast, if you will, and then we're working on the rest of the top now. So this increase, we're actually going to take one of the pewter or metallic and then a red with this increase, because we're now going to be getting into her sleeves. And you're going to do 2 single reds. Now we're actually going to do a decrease to get the next level. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down a couple outside beads here. And then I'm going going to leave that guy down there for now as I add some more thread onto my needle. Now, before I start winding those guys all back in, I'm actually going to just try and get this last piece done here. Use some pliers to pull through because it's a little stiff in there right now. I'm going to come back out this end where I ended off, and I'm just going to leave a tail that I'll tuck in a little bit later. So I have 3 tails sitting there. Okay, so I've done my decrease. I'm going to do another decrease, but I'm only going to do these kind of 9 beads for right now and make my way back down to the other side. So what that means is I'm going to do another decrease with the metallic color. Red and a metallic. And so what this is starting is the actual like wide sleeve of the like tank toppy top of my dress. Some of these metallic ones are funny shapes, so I'd be careful with some of them. If you've got some chunky ones, you might want to put them off to the side. Okay, so that was this row. Now I actually want to work my way back, but I want to stick with 3. So what that means is as I get to the other side, I'm going to have to do an increase just on the left. So there's my kind of decrease on the right. There's the regular bead. And then I'm going to do another metallic bead on the far left here under that same hole as the red so that I get it to kind of pop out. Okay, and we're going to do one more of those, but I still want it to kind of move out to make this little archy shape. So I'm going to do the metallic and the red at the same time to do kind of an increase on the left. Okay. And then one more metallic here. Okay, so we've done the left arm sleeve now. We're actually going to come down this red and weave our way till we get here and make our way back up on the other side. So if you come down all of those, might have to do it in a couple of steps, and that's okay. Okay, so in here I'm going to go up this left pewter down this right pewter, and then up this left red. What that's going to allow me to do is now I can pick up a pewter here, or metallic color, and I'm going to go right in there. Okay, so that's the first one. Now we want to start doing our addition here, or extension increase. So I've got my metallic and my red. And I'm going to just come out just the red. Okay, we are almost there. I need one more, so we're going to go follow this. Now, I want to be able to do her like necklacey hemline, so what I'm going to do is go down through this single red and up through the inside metallic and pull. So what you're going to do is you're going to add on 3 metallic, and then you're going to come up through your wire guard on one side, go down the the wire guard on the other side. And you want to make sure that your thread actually sits inside that wire guard. And now you're going to pick up 3 more metallics to do the other side and come down at least 2 metallics on this far side. Okay, now when you pull that, again, you want to watch your thread coming through everything. Then I'm going to go back up the 2 beads because I went down 2 of the metallics. I'm going to have to come back up the 2 reds to the left. Okay. And now you're just going to scoot your way over this into the metallics again. And now we're going to go back through each side of the wire guard. So up on the left this time and down on the right. Through the beads, of course, on that side. Now I've made it all the way through those 3 and then another one. I'm going to go down 1 more pewter here. And then I'm going to switch over to these red ones. And I'm going to start weaving my way down because I've got a long string or thread. You might only be able to do 2 or 3 at a time. If you can only do 1 at a time, that's okay. You're going to start making your way down. Now, if you've run out of thread or you're pretty short and you don't have enough to do fringes, you're going to do a full circle in here. In fact, I'm going to show you with this thread over here. So I've undone the long string and I'm going to show you how to tuck your tails in. So if you're unding at a thread, you're going to do the same thing to be able to cut your thread. So with your tails, they might be a little bit shorter. So what I'm doing is I'm setting up my needle where I want it first. Oops. So I'm going through a bead here. I'm going to thread my needle. Okay. I'm going to pull that bead through, or that thread through. I'm going to go back down the first bead. And up the second bead again. So what I've done is I've just made a big loop, a circle that I've been able to go through at least 1.5, 2 times. And now I can cut this thread. And so that's how you would want to get rid of your tails, how you tuck them in. And so you can see that some of my black thread sticks out more on this side than on this side. You can see it, and that's okay because those we'll make that the back. Our pattern is uniform, that we can do that. At the very end, when we put our hooks on, we'll make sure that that's the side that shows the back. Okay, so I've put my long working thread back on. And I'm going to just continue weaving my way down my dress to one of the far ends here. If you're using pliers to pull, please be careful. If you jiggle too much, you could inadvertently crack a bead on your way through. Okay, so remember the last two here are in the same, because they're in the ladder stitch, so they're on the same spot. There's no brick stitch in there. Okay. Okay, so I made my way all the way down to the side of my dress. So now what I'm actually going to start doing is building my fringe. And because this is symmetrical, it doesn't matter if you start left to right or right to left, whatever spot you works for you. But the first one, then you're going to add 4 of these reds all at once. And then you're going to put in your pattern. So it's metallic, black, metallic. This is a darker red in here. Metallic orange, metallic yellow, metallic white, metallic. Okay, and now the bottom is the same. The whole like pattern on the bottom is exactly the same. You're just adding 1 red bead between her hips and this pattern. So we did 4. You've got your metallic pattern in there, and now you're going to put on 9 reds. I've got my 3, my 6, and then the extra 3 is what's going to make the triangle at the bottom. So the first 6 go up. The last 3, I'm going to kind of keep off to the side here, and I'm going to ignore them and go back through everything else. And you're going to probably have to do this in a couple of steps. And as you pull, you might have to adjust your little triangle 3 at the bottom. And all the way through the ladder stitch too. So this is why it's important to be careful with your ladder stitch, because we have to come back through it a couple of times. So again, if I hold the middle bead of the triangle and I'm pulling, now it's a little bit, it's not there. If you play with it a little bit, you're going to get it to the tension you want it to be at, so that it dangles very nicely in your fringe. I'm going to come down the next 2, and I'm going to just continue my pattern. And so the first red bead increases 1 every time, and then after that, once you get to that middle one, the 5th one, you're going to start decreasing after that to get this V in there. Okay, I'm going to speed up the video now. Okay, so I made it up my last fringe, and so now I've gone all the way up. I've rolled and played with my tension a bit here just to make sure that they're where I want them. And I've gone up my ladder stitch and an extra one, and I'm going to come down the stitch next to it. Got a knot in there. I gotta be careful. And I'm going to go back up and down one more. And then we can cut it off. Okay. Now, if you can't get close by chance, you can always use a match to burn it. Put a piece there. Depending on what kind of beads you have, you're going to want to be careful though, so that you don't discolor your beads. Now, you need to choose. So I've got a piece here where I'm not as happy, so I'm going to count this as my front. This is the side I like on that one. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use what we call round nose pliers, and I'm just going to open up the hook, slide my wire guard onto there, and close the hook. Do the same for the other side. Now remember which way your hook is facing and you're putting your wire guards on. And now I have a pair of red dress earrings. Thank you for joining me today, Marcy. I hope you had a great time.